watching the award-winning GHS-TV, a nationally recognized student television station.
Hello and welcome to GHS-TV's award-winning talk show, Crosstalk. I'm Calvin Nicholson. Let's talk about you. What's going on in your life, whether it's at home or at school? Today's episode tackles one of the issues that every school deals with: absence. The number of students attending schools has dwindled since the pandemic. To curb this, some schools have introduced an incentive program to get students out the door and into schools. A pilot program in Oakland, California pays 45 students $50 a week if they have perfect attendance. But could something like this work for GHS? Here to talk logistics is our expert panel: GHS Assistant Principal Karen Hardy and Mildred Avery, Manager of Enrollment and Attendance. So let's talk about it. Mr. Hardy, you've been in this position since the beginning of school. How is attendance? Is GHS thinking of any incentive programs for students to get them to come to school?
Yes, we are, Calvin. We're piggybacking off our superintendent's Come to Win program with our winners, our participants, and our champions. And I just looked at our numbers a few minutes ago. We have 834 students here who are champions and 394 students who are winners. We have a total school population of 740 students. And right now, our current attendance rate is at 94%. So Germantown is doing an awesome job of getting to school on time every day, coming to class every day. And we do have some incentives. I know the students have seen the food trucks that have been outside on Fridays. Next Friday, we will have our food trucks for our champions and for our winners. We're going to do that after lunch. We're going to allow students to participate in getting some snacks and some goodies, just for being a good student, just for coming to school on time. Those are things that we want to see. We're calling parents, giving them kudos for them bringing their child to school on time. And we will have our honors program, our honors assembly, where we will also recognize students for coming to school and making improvements in their attendance as well.
Ms. Avery, we've heard a lot about MSCS going door-to-door. Dr. Fagan's planning to go door-to-door enrolling students. How is that going, and how is it benefiting MSCS?
Well, it's been a tremendous impact on student enrollment. Our enrollment is up this year, approximately 2,000 students from this time last year. It's that face-to-face personal effect that is occurring. Parents, the community, I believe they realize that Superintendent Fagan cares about our community, and we understand in some cases we have to reach out to where they are to bring them to where we want them to be, and that's students in school every day, all day, on time.
Mr. Hardy, how have you seen an increase of numbers, or has the door-to-door effect affected Germantown personally?
I wouldn't say it has affected Germantown personally. Our attendance rate has always been pretty good here for the most part throughout the years. Just speaking with our parents and some of our students, they haven't had anyone come to their door, but there hasn't been a need for that for us. But I think it would help for some individual students in certain cases if they had that extra push, if we showed that extra concern and care for them and their parent and why they can't get to school, because a lot of students have difficulty making their way to school due to circumstances beyond their control.
Mr. Hardy, I know over the beginning of school we've heard a lot about warm body counts. I want to know, what does that actually entail, and what does it mean to us as Germantown High School? Warm
body count is we're making sure that the total number of students that we have in Power School, they're matching up with the total number of students who are currently present in the building. So every year we do a warm body count for the first 30 days or so. We need to make sure that students are present. We need to make sure our numbers are matching based upon what we have in our database and what we have in front of ourselves as well. It's all about funding as well too. If we don't have the total number of students or a certain number of students, you can either lose staff or you can gain staff. But we want to make sure that everyone is here and stays at Germantown.
Miss Avery, is there anything that MSCS is planning to do to incentivize students to get them to come to school and keep them engaged to want to get out those doors and into schools?
Yes, we're in the planning stages of looking at planning an event at the semester for our champions. Those are our students that have come to school for the most part 96% or better time for the semester. We are engaging with community partners to provide supports to schools as they incentivize their students. We just want to continue to encourage those students who are coming to continue to come, and perhaps students who are on the bubble, the winners, who are one day here or there from being champions. They can see that by coming to school, then I can participate in the activities that are surrounded around champion students.
This here is to both of you. Why do you think other schools around the U.S. have started to implement these programs? And do you think it will be beneficial in the future?
Well, I can speak on that for a little bit. Coming to school is getting you prepared for life. It's almost like your job. So students who can't make it to school on time or can't make it at all, they're going to have a difficult time ahead of them after they graduate, or even if they graduate from high school. So schools putting in incentives, really helping to motivate young people to get to school, that's going to help them, and it's really going to help our communities in the long run as well, because everything we're doing, we're trying to prepare our young people for the world. We're trying to prepare them to be better citizens and be productive citizens as well.
Ms. Avery?
I'd have to ditto what Mr. Hardiman says. This process, we have learned that when students miss a day out of school, it impacts. And as it builds over a 12-year academic time period, that loss of learning has a tremendous negative impact on students and their ability to perform well as adults in society. So the nation has addressed this chronic absenteeism issue from a perspective to encourage, reward, educate parents, students, the city. A better student, a better community, a better community, a better city, a better city, a better state, and so forth. So yes, I can understand how all over the nation, school districts are doing everything they can to get every student in school every day, all day, on time.
So, and this also goes to, I'm going to start with Mr. Hardy. If you have so many tardies, can it equal up to an absence?
It won't equal up to an absence, but it will affect you in terms of your incidents, in terms of your log, your behavioral log. We have to have SART meetings, SARB meetings, student attendance plans put into place. We want to be proactive with our families and our young people. Everything is not about being punitive, but it can affect you in the long run in terms of you being prepared and your learning.
If I could piggyback.
Go ahead, Ms.
The biggest impact is the learning lost. If you miss the first block of class every day, 10, 15 minutes of that class, you're missing some valuable instruction. And while you're getting to school late, you're missing an important piece of the academic process. Everything is a building block, foundational. So being tardy, while it does not account towards an absent, it does impact the learning loss, the learning curve, and that which the student could gain if they were in school every day, all day, on time.
I want to go here to something that affects Germantown more that I see and I know you see. Tardies with the Chick-fil-A bags and the coffee cups and things of that nature. Do you think, I know we have chicken biscuits and things for sale here, but is there anything that you think Germantown or you guys are planning to do to narrow that down with these Chick-fil-A runs, these Starbucks runs, or anything like that?
A lot of that is coming from, and I'm not putting blame, but a lot of our parents don't know what their children are doing. Our children, they drive to school, they might catch a ride with someone, and they stop. They stop to go to McDonald's, they stop to go to Starbucks, Chick-fil-A, and it causes them to be late for school. And sometimes even our parents are culprits in this as well. Students tell them they don't want to ride the bus, and I'll take you to school. Hey mom, can we stop at Starbucks? I'll give me a latte or something. Mm-hmm. So yes.
Well, thank you guys. It's truly been a pleasure talking to you guys today. We've heard from our experts' point of view. Up next, we will bring in our peer panel to get their take on the topic. We're back with our Crosstalk peer panel. And for today's student guests, we have Bellmaker winner Cameron Leaks and Emily Sandlin. We've heard from our experts about schools and what they're doing to curb chronic absenteeism. But I want to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts about it? First of all, Cameron, Emily, thank you for joining me today. It's truly a pleasure having you guys. So let's go straight in. Mr. Hardy talked about an incentive program that Germantown could possibly be implementing with food trucks, and even back to our class meetings, how he talked about an open gym. Do you think that'll affect our absenteeism and bring our attendance up?
I think that definitely the incentives have probably brought our absenteeism up, but I also think that there's some students that probably don't care about the incentives, frankly. Like, just some of them that we have now, like if we did more, like what they talked about before us, about like the $50, maybe that would definitely bring more to the table, but right now, I feel like some students don't particularly care for some of it.
Right. So on that $50 statement, I believe that although the $50 may work, it could get too much, because how will we fund that while also funding school? Because like giving $50 every week to about, 2,500 kids.
So California that has that, and it's 45 students that they pay $50 weekly, but you have to have perfect attendance, no tardies or anything like that. Would that interest you as a student?
It would.
Emily?
It really would.
Yeah, it would, but there's some kids that just don't care, to be honest. But maybe that $50 will push them, and I feel like the incentives have definitely pushed kids to get to class and stuff.
I want to go to and I want to push it more home to Germantown in itself. With student drivers, just Thursday with all the rain from the hurricane, student drivers were struggling to get to school. Some student drivers didn't want to drive because they were scared to drive in the rain. Emily, you being a student driver, how did that affect your attendance?
So I was definitely late. I understand that parents also, it's not just student drivers, but parents. Like my mom didn't really want me to drive in the rain, and she was trying to figure out whether I was driving or whether, it was safe for me to drive. And just me being comfortable with driving, because most of us have only been driving for a year, maybe a little longer. But I definitely was late, and, the rain, there was nothing I could do about it, but I tried to get here when I could.
Understandable. Cameron, so you being a Bellmaker winner, that means you've been to school on time, your attendance. How do you ride the bus? Do your mom take you? How do you get here to make sure that you're on time? And is there a morning routine? What keeps you grinding to make sure you stay on that Bellmaker winner path?
Well, truth be told, I never thought I'd actually win one. But for a morning routine, most of the time, I either wake up from like 5:30, 6 o'clock, get ready by like 6:15, take my dog out, make sure he's well fed. Sometimes I drive my parents and my sister, make sure we drive my car that I'll be in sooner or later. But sometimes, especially in the rain, my mother and my father drives us, just in case, because they don't feel as I'm ready enough, especially since I have my license. But getting to school, most of the time, I'm getting here around like 6:45, 6:55.
And you're getting to class on time. So I want to ask you guys this as students. I know a lot of students are probably listening, understand the reason for their tardies are the bells on the doors, because we have an open campus. Our campus is a very big campus. Some people refer to it as a mini college. So could that be a problem with our tardies as students?
Most definitely. Like, just for instance, like when our bell schedule is different. So like Tuesdays and Thursdays we're on block schedule. So when the doors don't open, sometimes it could be difficult. Now, if you're late, the door should be open. But if you're late, the door probably won't be open. But I feel like sometimes it is difficult, because even if you do have a note, sometimes you still can't get in the building, and now we're going to be 5 minutes late, now you're 10 to 15 minutes late because you're standing at a door. but also like the campus, it being this not big but open, I definitely feel like it's kind of difficult sometimes to navigate for some people, like freshmen. It's difficult to navigate, and also just the amount of people that are here.
I like to add on to that. So with her saying the amount of people, a lot of people like standing in the hallway, standing around. So that can really get in the way of people getting to class, me especially. It's like, for example, our third period SGA, I'm trying to get to my fourth period, which is V building. A lot of times people just stand in the way. I have to move around. Sometimes I got to go like to the back way. Like I got to go behind MGM to get there because so many people are in the way.
Emily, I've seen you with a couple of Chick-fil-A bags in your day, and a couple Starbucks drinks as well. Do you think there's something that Germantown could do to keep you from having to make those stops?
Well, when I make those stops, I'm not late. So, but I mean, I definitely feel like there is kids. I've seen kids with Chick-fil-A and stuff. I'm not sure what that incentive would be, whether it be, like, I know we sell chicken biscuits, but, you know, kids have to pay for those, and some kids don't want to pay for those. Their mom would be paying for their Chick-fil-A and their Starbucks, so that's why they late.
I want to go here. After school jobs. I know, Emily, you suffer from that. I suffer from that as well. We all suffer from that. Emily, could you start us off talking about, I know you talked about how you get off at 9 and now it's hard to continue to keep your day going and having to do it again the next day.
Yeah, I've definitely found it difficult, especially just, you know, jumping right into this job. I feel like personally, this is just personally, that me working till 9, I have to, you know, manage that. That's my priorities. I feel like I can work till 9 and go to bed and then wake up the next morning and then go back and work and do it. So I feel like individually, that's something individually, definitely.
Well, for me, so originally when I was working, I worked till 10, and that would really be a struggle, especially after baseball practice, because I'll be tired and my legs start hurting. And then I work at Dollar Tree. I'm a cashier, and I start the show. So I'm on my feet all day, every day. I get like a 10-minute break, and that's all I get, because that's the only time of rest I really get.
So that's understandable. As someone, I work, it depends from 10. It may be, on my good days, it is 9 o'clock and I'm excited about it. But those 10 o'clock days, it's truly a struggle. So can I ask you guys this? Do you think there should be something in place for those students that have jobs? Whether like a grace period, because getting up, going to bed, you got to still make sure you got your homework done. And by the time you get done with taking a shower, homework done, eating and all of that stuff, it's already 12 o'clock.
I do feel like that personally I've talked to my first period teacher and I've told him, hey, I have a job. I work late. I might be 2 to 3 minutes late because I live in Cordova and, you know, it's difficult for me to wake up. But, you know, I've talked to him and I've tried my best and he knows that. But, you know, an incentive for that, I don't think it's necessary personally because of, you know, it's just an individual thing. You need to take that responsibility. That's your responsibility. It's your job, you know.
Well, for me, for one thing I do have lucky is because I take ACT math prep, right? And we don't really have a teacher in there. We have a sub. So it's a lot easier for me to get to school, especially because, like, most of the time I'm never late. So the sub doesn't take roll until, like, the end of class. So that's a really good thing for me. But especially like when I go out of baseball practice and I go to work and I'm up till like 12 or 1 o'clock, my sister, she wakes me up in time. So I'm very happy that she's there, because without her, I more than likely be late a lot.
It's always good to have family support. Well, thank you, Cameron. Thank you, Emily. Well, that's a wrap on our second episode of Crosstalk. I would like to thank our peer panel, Emily, Sandlin, and Cameron Leeds. And thank you to Mr. Hardy and Miss Avery for giving us a professional view on this topic. Please, teachers and students, hit that like and subscribe button. Only 22% of people who watch our content are actually subscribing. So please make sure you subscribe so you can always be up to date on the news around GHS. For more information on our programming, please check us out on the web at GHS-TV.org, where we're streaming 24 hours a day. You can also check us out on Facebook and Instagram. I'm Calvin Nicholson, and from all of us here at GHS-TV, thank you for watching Crosstalk, and I hope to see you again.